Welcome to the Tech Byte on how to set up honor roll. I'm Beth Elliott, and today we're going to be going over how do you set up your honor roll rules and where the different information is that influences that information. So we're going to start under grades in MMS generation, more grade editing jobs, and we're going to go down to edit the honor roll rules. In here, you can add as many different rules as you want. The code when you add it is up to 3 characters. You can put in a description as you choose, and then you can start setting up how you want to look at it. The first area we'll see is you can set a minimum or maximum GPA for this honor roll. So in this example for high honors, they're looking at a 95 to 110 GPA. You can set a minimum number of courses that the student must have in order to be considered for honor roll. And you can set up a minimum number of credits. The minimum number of credits are adjusted for the marking period, so it's not for the entire year, it's based on the marking period that you specify. So a 1.5 on a 4-quarter system in a single quarter would translate to 6 credits for the year. In both of these cases, it gives us the choice to say all courses count toward the value or count only honor roll courses. And it even gives you a notation as set in the course catalog. So if in here I go under School, Edit Course Catalog, I'm going to be able to see whether the course is included in honor roll or not. Now I can also look at that if I am in the Staff portal. And in the Staff portal, I would go in under Manage and Edit Course Catalog. Once I'm in here, I'm able to see again whether the course is included in honor roll. If I wanted to change whether a course was included or not, I would be able to select the edit on the left-hand side. And then one of my values here is whether to include in honor roll or not. The other thing I might need to look in here is the level for GPA. So my GPA level and which grade point value group it's used, but it's more the level of the course and how many credits it's worth if I'm using that for my honor roll. And at this point I can go ahead and cancel out. Now that same information in MMS generations is right here of the honor roll of the GPA level and how many credits the course is worth. You can also come in, and when you're working with this, you're going to use the same grade point value group for all of your courses when it looks at that. And that's more when you're coming into if I'm going to set a minimum maximum for individual grade groups. In here, it gives me the option to be able to go in where it's coming in to look at that. I need to go in under Grades, More Grade Editing Jobs, and I want to edit the valid grades list. In here, I can specify what is the honor roll classification, or how am I going to group my grades for what's here. So the default is normally that your A's are class 1, your B's are class 2, C's are 3s, D's are 4s, and so on. As you scroll down, you can see that we have other grades that have different numbers, and when you start getting into the numbers, you can line up your numbers. Numeric grades would say the A, B, C, D type scale. This is also when I said in the catalog we level for GPA, and this is where it's going to look at the points potentially that when I compute my GPA, what values am I going to work with? So it does give that capability. If I close out of here and I come back in, say if I look at my sports ineligibility, should be able to come in and specify here. So it's saying my minimum of A's, B's, C's, and D's is 0 to 99. That type of item says that I can have as many of those grades as I want. But if I scroll down a little bit more, I'm going to see that in classification 5 that there is a minimum of 2 grades of an F. So this is indicating that in order to be in this sports ineligibility, they have to have 2 or more failures in order to be there. And those failures are not only the letter grade, but it could also be the numeric grades. So it gives me that way to be able to look into it. And as I did with the number of credits and the number of courses, I can indicate whether I want to use all my courses or only those that are flagged as honor roll. So for something like sports and eligibility, I might want to look at all of my courses, including things like driver's ed or maybe PE, that I might not consider when I'm looking at other levels of honor roll. If I have a minimum maximum set both lines to 0, that means they cannot have any of those and be on the honor roll. If I click OK and look at, say, honors, when I go down to my minimum maximum, I might come down here, and here it's saying that I can have a maximum of 5 Ds and still make honor roll. But for the Fs, I'm having a minimum maximum of 0, so the student cannot have any F and still make honor roll. And this little message over here gives you information on how to set that up. So I'm going to click OK. The other areas that you're working with is the right side, and that's when I'm setting up a GPA. You have a couple of options here, which first is when do you want to weight the honor roll by course credit. So the credit of the course is going to influence the GPA that it calculates. If not, you can say no, and it's just going to divide by the total points of how many grades are involved. Below that, you have, do I want to use the same grade point value level? So if I choose yes, I can specify which level is in my valid grade list. If I say no, I'm going to use the level in the catalog. So if I have different levels of courses and normally different points for my standard courses, my honors courses, and my AP courses, I might decide that when I'm doing an honor roll, I don't want to give them extra points for honors or AP courses. I want everybody to be on the same playing field, and that's where I might want to use the same level. Now, when I go back and look at high honors, my high honors is 95 to 110. When I come down and look at my honor roll, I'm looking at 90 to 94.9999. Now, I could also set my maximum at 95, but you do want to go out to your 4 decimal places so that you cover everyone who is between one level and the next. What I wouldn't want here is just to see, say, a 94.9 with 3 zeros after it. Because if a student had a 94.93, they would be caught where they were over the limit for honors, and they would be under the limit for high honors. And that's sometimes what I see. To set up the credit weighting, when we go in and say we're going to be doing it, of how does it factor that the quarter is of 6 credits is a 1.5 for a year-long course, that's going to be under grades, more grade edits, and edit the grade schemes. The first half of the grade schemes is the grade storage bins that just says which grades do I have, and on the other side is the grade assignment weighting plans. The weighting plans is how I say what I'm going to work. So when I look at here, I have my credit percentages. If I'm looking at a quarter class, or this might be semester or trimester, 6 terms, whatever you have, my individual marking period here is going to be 100% of the credit when I look at that, because that's the length of the course. Based on a 4-quarter system, when I look at a semester course, the credit percentage for an individual quarter is 50%, because it's half the length of the course. And when I'm looking at my year courses, it's going to be 25%, because it's a quarter of the length of the course. So if I'm looking at trimester system and a year course, then it might be a 33%, and I might want to go out all 3 or 4 decimal places with that. But this is how it's going to look at what credit percentage, or how it adjusts the credits for me. And so that's the different areas it's going to use when you set it up. And that's all you need to know. And if I want to print this, then you can either go right from the printer that is here and be able to print any or all of your levels. And I can go ahead and print that. And that's going to show me for each level will start on its own page. And for each of the grade classes that you have in your valid grade list, it's going to show minimums, maximums, and then the summary of the information you had on the right-hand side. So I can see that I'm weighting my GPA by the course credit, what that GPA is going to be, what range the course minimum number of courses or credits, and whether to use the same grade point value level or not for my GPA. And it's going to go through that for my honors. And here I can see that there's a different GPA level that I want to work with. And when I look at my sports and eligibility, I'm going to see that my GPA is a 0 to 100, which says I can have basically any GPA I want. If I want help on setting any of this up, I'm going to go into my question mark and let it bring up the help on editing my honor roll rules. This does have a couple of different levels that I can work with. Some of this is setting up for the minimum maximum, and I can also go into the edit rules and see more information on how to work with that. Thank you for participating with this Tech Byte, and I hope you found it helpful.